In a lush, green forest lived a kind-hearted rabbit named Ruby. Ruby was loved by all the forest animals for her generosity and willingness to share. She always made sure everyone had enough to eat, often giving away her own food to help others. In the same forest lived a raccoon named Ralph, known for his greed and selfishness. Ralph hoarded food and resources, never sharing with anyone, always thinking only of himself. One summer, the forest experienced a severe drought. The streams dried up and food became scarce. Ruby, concerned about her friends, decided to share what little she had stored for herself. She went around the forest distributing her food to those in need, earning their gratitude and respect. Meanwhile, Ralph continued to hoard his food, refusing to help anyone. He sneered at Ruby, thinking she was foolish for giving away her supplies. "Why should I share what I worked so hard to gather?" he thought. "Let them fend for themselves." As the drought worsened, Ralph's food supply became dangerously low. One night, he ventured out to find more food but found the forest nearly barren. Desperate, he approached Ruby, who was sitting under a tree, sharing her last carrot with a group of hungry squirrels. "Ruby, can you spare some food for me?" Ralph asked, his voice filled with desperation. Ruby looked at Ralph with compassion and said, "I have little left, Ralph, but I will share what I have. Remember, in times of need, we must help each other." Ralph took the food, humbled by Ruby's generosity. He realized how wrong he had been to hoard his supplies. The next day, Ralph approached Ruby with an idea. "Ruby, let's work together to find food. If we combine our efforts, we can gather enough for everyone." Ruby agreed, and they set out to find food. With Ralph's cleverness and Ruby's perseverance, they discovered new sources of food, enough to sustain the forest animals until the drought ended. The experience transformed Ralph. He learned the value of sharing and cooperation. He started helping others, and soon the animals saw a new, generous side of him. The forest thrived again, not just because of the rain that eventually returned, but also because of the spirit of unity and generosity that grew among its inhabitants. The moral of the story is that generosity and cooperation lead to abundance, while greed and selfishness result in isolation and scarcity. Helping others in times of need strengthens communities and fosters a spirit of unity and kindness.
On a hot summer day, a hungry fox was wandering through an orchard. His stomach growled, and he longed for something to eat. Suddenly, he spotted a bunch of ripe, juicy grapes hanging from a vine high above his head. The fox's mouth watered as he imagined the sweet taste of the grapes. Determined to have them, he jumped up to reach the grapes, but they were too high. He jumped again and again, each time missing by just a little. The grapes seemed to taunt him, swaying gently in the breeze. Frustrated, the fox sat down to rest. He gazed at the grapes, his determination growing. He took a few steps back and ran toward the vine, leaping as high as he could. Still, he couldn't reach the grapes. He tried various angles and even thought about climbing the tree, but nothing worked. Exhausted and defeated, the fox finally gave up. As he walked away, he muttered to himself, "Those grapes are probably sour anyway. Who needs them?" The fox left the orchard, his hunger still gnawing at him, but he consoled himself with the thought that the grapes weren't worth the effort. He convinced himself that it was better to give up on something he couldn't have rather than continue to strive for it. The moral of the story is that it's easy to despise what you can't have. When faced with failure or something beyond our reach, we often convince ourselves that we didn't want it in the first place. The story teaches us to recognize our tendency to rationalize failure and to be honest about our desires and efforts.
In a lively pond surrounded by lush greenery, lived a persistent frog named Freddie. Freddie was known for his determination and hard work. He would spend his days catching insects, practicing his jumps, and exploring the pond. Nearby lived a toad named Toby, who was notoriously lazy. Toby preferred to lie on a lily pad all day, basking in the sun and waiting for food to come to him. One summer, A rumor spread among the pond's inhabitants about a legendary golden lily pad that granted any frog or toad who sat on it the ability to leap higher than any other creature in the forest. Freddy was excited and determined to find this lily pad. Toby, though lazy, was tempted by the promise of such an easy reward and decided to join the quest. Freddy woke up early every morning, searching every corner of the pond and asking other animals for clues. He faced many challenges, like navigating through dense algae and avoiding predators, but his determination never wavered. Toby, on the other hand, barely moved from his spot, occasionally glancing around and asking passing fish if they had seen the golden lily pad. Days turned into weeks, and Freddy's persistence finally paid off. One morning, he discovered a hidden part of the pond covered with thick water lilies. There, gleaming in the sunlight, was the golden lily pad. Excited, Freddy immediately jumped onto it, feeling a surge of energy and strength in his legs. Freddy quickly returned to the main part of the pond to share his discovery. Toby, seeing Freddy's newfound leaping ability, begrudgingly realized that he would have to put in effort if he wanted to enjoy such benefit. Determined to change, Toby asked Freddy for help. Freddy agreed and started training Toby. Though it was tough at first, Toby gradually improved. He began to catch his own food and explore the pond, gaining strength and stamina. Eventually, Toby was able to leap onto the golden lily pad himself, and the two friends celebrated together. The pond's animals noticed Toby's transformation and admired his newfound work ethic. The golden lily pad became a symbol of persistence and effort, and the story of Freddy and Toby was told to inspire others. The moral of the story is that persistent effort and hard work lead to rewards, while laziness yields no progress. By striving to overcome challenges and seeking to improve, even the laziest can achieve great things.